Looks like it's 7 o'clock. Welcome to the August board meeting. Can't believe it's already time for school to start again. Next time we'll be here, we'll be in session. And we will start with call to order and start with roll call.
Mullins?
Here.
Hanlon?
Here.
Noggle?
Here.
Wagers?
Here.
Wagnon?
Here. If you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have anyone signed in to be heard? All right. Well, we'll skip on down to the Pace Setter Award.
I'll go first. I have the first person.
Okay, you have the first one. Okay.
It's too quiet in here. A little noise or something. Makes me feel better. Okay. I need Lisa Chittister up here. This is one of my favorite new gals that I get to spend some quality time with and have really learned to love and cherish all that she does for our school. And I don't know if you know what a Pace Setter Award is, but it is a monthly award event that honors Sand Springs Public Schools faculty and staff who have gone above expectations while representing Sand Springs Public Schools throughout the current or previous school year. We are looking for excellence. Nominees for Sandite Pace Setter Award are those who have been recognized for achieving excellence through efforts in representing Sand Springs Public Schools and or improvement and accomplishments in their drive for self-improvement. And this was nominated by Mrs. Durkee. And I don't know if you have seen Lisa and all that she does, but she is absolutely amazing. She's at all events, including some chamber events that I get to see her at and talk with her and form a wonderful bond with. And she's just an all-around wonderful person. And it says Lisa received the 2024 National School Public Relations Association Award of Excellence for her financial publication of the Sand Springs Public Schools Future Ready Sandites Students Investment Plan webpage contest entry. She is listed on the NSPRA's 2024 Publications and Digital Media Excellence Awards page under Financial Publications. She continues to strive for excellence and are proud she is our Sandite team. So congratulations. There you go. And I'm gonna let you have this as well. And Ms. Durkee, would you like to come up and say a few things?
I thought you were going to ask me to be in a picture. I was going to have to turn you down. I'm joking, maybe not. I think this is the third award that Lisa has achieved from the Board of Education, but a national honor is a pretty big deal. She has made a tremendous difference in the way we communicate, our structure to reach parents and family and community members, and the job she does is just absolutely amazing. I think we have a new publication about, well, it's coming out. I'm not going to tell the secret, but it's about attendance, and it's not just written, but also digital communication in terms of video. So it's coming out. I don't want to be a spoiler, Carrie. I'm not going to do it, but you just can't beat the excellence. So thank you, Lisa Chittister.
Okay, Ms. Jamie Conrad, would you join me? This is Wonder Woman when it comes to grant writing, and I mean, you've gotten us millions of dollars, and you are just absolutely amazing. I think Wonder Woman is an apt title. Okay, Claudia Smith is the one who nominated you, and I'm going to let you hold your award. You won a Pace Setter Award, and I'm going to read what she wrote because it's pretty perfect. Okay. There is no single person I know in life that works as hard as Jamie Conrad, 21st Century Community Learning Center Director for Sand Springs Public Schools. Jamie devotes every ounce of her being into taking care of others, including her family, her students, her staff, and her colleagues. Often the first person to work and the very last person to leave. Jamie has spearheaded our very successful 21st CCLC projects into state and nationally recognized programs. That deserves a clap, I think. Okay, where did I leave off here? Okay, school districts reach out to Jamie as a role model for how programs should be coordinated and implemented. So much so that she has been invited and has visited several 21st CCLC programs within the state of Oklahoma and has been invited to speak at state and national workshops and conferences. Jamie's organization skills and attention to detail have made Sand Springs Public Schools a model for emulation. Although Jamie consistently redirects all credit to others, it is important that she is recognized for the impact she has made on the lives of the students who need us the most. Thank you so much. Would you like that?
Yes.
Ms. Smith, would you like to say anything?
I've known Jamie for several years, and when Kristen Arnold suggested she become the director, Jamie cried and didn't think she could do it. But she has grown so much since she's been here, and I'm very happy to call her one of my best friends. So, thank you.
This is excellent.
All right, come on.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Okay, so in the spirit of the Olympics, this past summer was the Minuteman Olympics. And I awarded all of my staff with the Minuteman Olympic medal, and all of you deserve the same thing. On the back of your medal, it has the motto of the Olympics, and it says, "You make a difference every day." Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I would put them on you, but I will probably follow the podium. So it's not worth trying.
That's so fun. Oh my gosh.
I feel like an Olympian.
Who has the next one?
Thank you.
If we have Wonder Woman, I'm going to invite a bunch of superstars up to the stage too. So, but first I want to invite Claudia to come and join me, please. She made another nomination today, and what such a wonderful job. And what I like about this particular one is, you know, we're in the education business, and we take care of kids. And that's what these superstars that we're going to bring up here have done and continue to do every day. So I'm going to ask them to come up first, then I'll read this thing. We'll pass out the awards. Elaine Holt, Jennifer Smith, Jennifer Ennis, Whitney Sanders, Amanda Benson, and Allison Pottinger. Hope I said it right. Come on and join me, and then I'm going to read what Claudia, the wonderful words that she wrote, and then we'll pass out the awards and get her picture made and all that stuff. Because, and what I say is that we take care of kids. And when I was reading what Miss Smith wrote about you guys, I thought, wow, this is just the epitome of taking care of kids. This is what it's all about. So let me just read what it is. Each summer, the Reading Sufficiency Act funding allows us to provide a Sandite Summer Reading Academy that focuses on improving the reading skills of qualifying grades 3 through 5 students, little kids. SSRA students not only must be certified, or teachers must not only be certified, but also are required to hold additional certification in order to be an instructor. They go above and beyond. The aforementioned staff, which is standing in front of us, have done an exemplary job building their skill strength of participating students while filling the gaps that allow the students to become better readers. Here's the cool part. This summer, 62% of the participating SSRA students scored higher than their NWEA MAP growth screener as compared to each student's spring screener score. What a deal. What a deal. The remaining 38% of the students were on average within 5 points of their spring screener score. The teachers were, here we go, intentional in their lessons, focused on each student's individual needs as a result of their reviewing the previous screener scores, individualized education plans, 504s, I don't know what that is, behavior plans, medical considerations, and parent-guardian concerns. What a deal. You guys went above and beyond, and you looked at each individual kid and their needs, and you fulfilled their needs, and you made them successful. What a deal. What a deal. Claudia says, I could not be more proud of their efforts to create a fun learning experience and atmosphere that incorporated the learning needs of our students. Thank you all. Thank you all. Very nice.
Thanks, Mike. No, I have had the opportunity to work with these ladies for a few years, and they're just exemplary in what they do, and they make me look good because it's not me that's doing the work, it is them. So I really appreciate everything, and that's why I wanted them to be recognized, because I hope next year we will do even better, and I'm sure we will. So, but they are very passionate, and they take it upon themselves and do the work, and I just wanted them to be recognized.
All right. You guys want to say anything?
Claudia doesn't give herself enough credit. I would say that. Yes. She's a great leader for us.
Makes it pretty smooth. We got to get her picture made. You want to get a picture too?
Go ahead. It's all good. Sure. Absolutely.
All right, thank each of y'all so much. You have, I know this may sound lame, but trust me, you have no idea the impact you have on individuals. And a lot of times you probably never even learn of it, but other people know about it. And thank you all, each of you. Okay, we'll move on to student empowerment and staff empowerment. Oh, if anyone, you're welcome to stay, but if you'd like to leave, feel free.
So I'm just going to jump right in. The first nugget I want to talk about is the receipt of the spring testing results that we just received. We have a couple of administrators here in the room that have been picking apart the scores. We're seeing some increases in scores since last year, but I want to really take the time to stress where the meat of instruction and where the intervention happens is in the NWEA and the intervention portion. So while we'll take a peek at them, Mr. Beard will be ready to present, probably with the help of Mr. Roeder, who served as our district testing coordinator last year. But truly, I just need to make sure the board understands that the pieces of work that we do with the intervention strategies born out of those benchmark assessments really do tell the tale of growth and development of our kids. And so while we're anxious to see student growth on spring assessments, really the meat of what we do is born out of those NWEA, what you just saw and what you just awarded. So I just want to make sure we're very clear about that. Secondly, you all, I believe at this point, have seen our statement regarding the state superintendent's edict of the Bible instruction in the classroom. I want to make sure folks understand that the ability to use Bible as a historical reference has been allowed by law for some time, and has been a part of Sand Springs Public Schools policy as it relates to that connection to state standards. And of course, the statement simply said that we'll continue to follow state law and follow the state standards as they're scripted in our curriculum. So I just wanted to say that tonight as well. I've yet to get any kind of negative feedback from that statement. In fact, much of the opposite. We've received a few emails from parents that are, happy with that. We're working through the process of providing a connection to the documents that were stated in the edict and links so that students and staff have access to those things. It's pretty easy to do. As you all know, we provide a digital curriculum for our students, and so it would make sense that those things would be provided digitally to our people. So just wanted to kind of bring that up and make sure you all
Ms.
understand.
Durkee, if I can just add one thing to that. Let me just
Sure.
say, as a board member's perspective, I appreciate you taking a leadership role and presenting that to the parents to let them know the stance that Sand Springs Schools was taking
Sure.
in conflict with what the noise that's coming from Oklahoma City is. And I'm sure that the parents had lots of questions. And when you explained that in the email that you sent to them, you were very specific and straightforward, and let them know we are going to continue teaching our children like we've always taught our children. And we will continue to do that until we are told differently. So thank you for doing it. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And like I say, from a board member, one board member saying, I support you so heartedly in
Thank
that
you.
decision.
We are transparent, and I know Mr. Beard, who sits in the audience very quietly, has answered questions throughout his stint as assistant soup and as director of curriculum. Very open and transparent about what is taught in the classroom. And so we've had parents inquire. We've opened up our curriculum for people to see. There is no reason not to include a reference to a particular document that would be relevant to a particular standard, and that we will continue to do. And I know there's some teachers in the audience that had that same question, so I'm glad. Thank you. I appreciate that. We are training on the new curriculum, and I have to tell you, we had this room full of math teachers, and so it was fun seeing those people trickle in, taking a day out of their summer to come and learn about the new curriculum and how to deliver that. So we have a few short weeks before school starts, and I have no doubt they'll be ready. We had a retreat with our leadership team on Friday. We're rolling out the new theme, Stand Tall Leadership, or Stand Tall Sandites. And so you have a couple of stickers on your folder to help us kind of send that message out, making sure that we're standing tall and being proud of what we do in Sand Springs, and owning the integrity and the excellence and the content of what we do in this classroom and outside the classroom and across the board. So I'm pretty proud of that. And we'll be rolling that on the 14th as well. So the other thing I would say, the schedule for the 14th for the opening assembly is linked, and so we would love to see your attendance at that opening. It's really fun to see everybody back in the same place. So by all means, that's an open invitation to each of you to come to that. So unless you have questions about student and staff empowerment, we can move on.
Questions?
Okay.
Yes.
Moving on, resource innovation. Jeannie Kavach is our bond consultant for the smaller projects, as you know. She provided an update, which is attached as well, with the summer projects that are the smaller ones. So we've been working on really 3. 2 she's commanding. One is Pratt Elementary and the repair of the kitchen drains. That's been a real trip, and if you saw the pictures, you saw where it required concrete being cut and exposed of drain area and sewage. Anyway, that's on the mend, and so that's almost done. Alongside, while we had the opportunity to put 2 ADA restrooms at the front of the building. So little manipulation. The biggest hitch that she found, which wasn't really big necessarily, is exposure of a load-bearing wall on an ad. So they fixed that, added support, and then finished the bathroom. So that's coming along. We got some updated pictures today. We didn't add here, but I can send those later. They actually carpeted, Mr. Roeder, is that correct today? So I walked through Friday. It was really rough, thinking, is this going to be cleaned up before school starts? And then magically on Monday, carpet appears. So it's coming along. The Angus restrooms are well underway to being complete as well. She was able to send some photos of that. And then the third project is limestone furniture. We were a little stressed about a late delivery, but we think we're going to get the bulk of it before school starts. The biggest question was, will they set it up? And I assured the folks at Limestone that that company does set it up. So those three are coming along as expected. Financial audit.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not related to those, but the big project at Boyd, and we made it known to the contractor that school's going to start on.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
looks like he's okay, but I just
think we're
asked if
okay.
he's still on schedule. He's still
It's-
comfortable that we're going to get buses in and out of there on
Absolutely.
Monday school?
So what happened today, I was in Oklahoma City at our OASA Leadership Summit, but today I think our team captured one last meeting regarding transportation. So I know Mr. Anderson, Mr. Roeder, Ms. Noel were present alongside our construction manager and I think Mr. Bynum to come up with a plan for signage and how that was going to work. So they know it all. I wasn't present, but I'm fully confident in their strategy. So Noel's nodding. Everybody's on the same page. So I feel confident we're going to be ready to go. So thank you for that question. Audit happens in the fall or, well, late summer, to be honest. We're waiting on our estimate of needs, so they come in and they apportion the audit. It's in phases. As you all are very well aware, the estimate of need should be appearing on the September board meeting, which drives in our district the sinking fund and the payback of bonds. And so that's yet to come. But again, when the final report's there, you will be the first to know. Methodist property purchase is still on our radar. So what's happening is we're awaiting a title commitment. I heard from Mr. Stockard at the Methodist Church. He actually offered to come to the board agenda or the board meeting tonight, and I just let him know that it wasn't an item for vote tonight, that we were still waiting for a document. When we have that, we'll bundle that. So you guys have that all together in one spot so you can look through it and be fully prepared for consideration to purchase that property. I believe when it's all said and done in September, we will be recommending to the board. We have the money in building fund to do that easily. And I think it would be a good addition to what we have available for access for our kids. And so more to come on that one. Our finances are looking pretty great. We think our carryover is going to be more than what we estimated to begin with, which is good. Still picking it apart right now. I can't say enough about Mr. Wyan. He is absolutely fantastic. I'll probably say that every meeting, and I really can't say enough about his work because he's conscientious, he's thoughtful, he mimics the kind of the scale of Mr. Watts, who would kind of retract and really think about things and not just act on impulse, which is so good. So everything's going really well in resource innovation. Questions?
On the finances, with the other noise coming out of Oklahoma City, have we received any estimate of our Title I funds? And if not, how have we made accommodations for that? Just kind of assuming that we're going to get what we got last year?
We have not, unless something appeared today. So Claudia's shaking her head no. So we haven't received preliminary allocations. It is true that previously those have been received late spring semester. We, unlike our comrades at Bixby, don't have an additional school. So we know the estimate's going to be pretty close. At AASA, the federal, well, not federal, but the national governing board that I sit on, we knew that there was going to be a small decrease in federal. They were estimating 1.some% decrease. So we know it might not be what we had last year, but we're expecting pretty close. So we'll see. You all will be the first to know we'll get that allocation. I think the budget, Claudia, when's the budget due at the State Department of Ed? Okay. It's a little tidbit of work, and I'm joking about that. It's a lot of work to put together that budget, and it's pretty time intensive. So September 30th, while it feels like is a couple of months away, is lurking pretty quickly around the corner. So Claudia will have her work cut out for her for sure. Good question though. I think that's all for now, unless you have questions about finances.
Any other?
Okay.
Move right
Yeah,
on
for
item
sure.
number 7.
Item number 7, so enrollment continues, as you know. We made a big push in the spring semester to get current students to complete their pre-registration for the new school year. I think last time I asked Carrie Slahuber, we were about 800 kids shy of that. 600 today, that's good. One of the important documents in that is our form for economically disadvantaged. Because we're doing the CEP, the community, I'm gonna get this wrong, provision, free lunches and breakfast for kids, they don't have to fill out the free and reduced form, the meal application. So super important for our parents to fill out what we're calling the ED, or the economically disadvantaged form, which is a very simple form to fill out, but that's gonna impact, those numbers impact our Title I funding specifically, and state aid for weighted ADM. So that's important. I need to say that publicly as well. And then Ms. Chittister and I meet occasionally. The latest one encompassed just ways to engage parents. We're talking through some site-specific opportunities. We haven't had a whole lot of luck with dialogue. People just don't come. We're thinking targeting site-specific interest with parents, you know, related to Limestone or Pratt. Maybe we get more engagement. So, you know, coffee time in the morning with parents. I don't know, we're gonna be creative, but we think that might be a good way to engage specifically people that might come and give us some feedback. So still working on trying to get parents and families to engage. Any questions about families and communication?
I feel like I'm hogging the meeting.
No, you
tonight.
can.
That's
You're
okay.
allowed.
I appreciate what you said about the free and reduced lunches, or the lunches and breakfast that we're going to provide to all of our students
All
this year.
students.
And I want to appreciate and let just the staff who put that together, because I think we were first, and now every other district around us is jumping on the bandwagon and doing the same thing that we started.
Right.
So thank you for taking the initiative and making that happen. And you talk about empowering families and stuff. What a deal to show that we're providing not just education, but we're putting food in their bellies for them.
Well,
as well.
I don't
So
know if I
love it.
shared the story about a conversation I had with a parent who is just over the requirement or the level for qualifying for free and reduced lunches. So I was sharing that everybody eats free. And we have to remember that folks, even though they might not qualify, just over the edge of qualification still doesn't mean you have adequate resources to provide food for your family. And so I think that's something we got to remember. Specifically in our district, we were looking at numbers with direct cert, and we're at 74%, I believe, with direct cert kids. So that means 74% of our school-age children are unable to have adequate resources for food. And so, and then you take it a step further with just those over the edge, it's more. So I'm excited. I take no credit. Sherry Pearson did all that work. But it's a good thing for our kids. So. And then item number 8, health and safety related issues. We, as you know, developed our policy and procedures for written communication. We probably did a step beyond what's required. We've covered reporting forms for teachers. We've covered investigation forms for administrators who might have to investigate digital communication. And we also created a form for acknowledgement. So staff and teachers can acknowledge that they know and have been trained on the policy. I've said to multiple people that that's one law that I'm pretty excited about. I think it gives teeth and brings to the attention of folks that it's just important to be cautious about your communication and what you say to kids. So I actually am excited about that one. Mr. Smith continues to be our chair for the district safety committee. That work will start pretty quickly. I know Mr. Bynum has been site by site kind of looking at facilities. That's a big part of that. But again, health and safety always is at the top of our radar. Any questions?
Any question? All right. Consent agenda.
So, a couple things that I would bring to your attention on consent, and then please let me know if you have any questions. Item number 18, again, that's that schedule for the back-to-school meeting that I mentioned in my report. Item number 20, letter D is a Perkins Innovative Grant, which includes supporting career and technical education, supporting special populations. Ms. Huber, I don't know if you want to elaborate on that at all, but that's something, the rest are donors choose. You kind of are used to seeing that. But Perkins, which is CTE, does offer competitive grants. There you go. Grab that mic.
Yeah, so this grant, wow.
It's loud.
Yeah. I
You
wrote
might
this
have to
grant.
stand up.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I wrote this grant over the end of the year last year. We found out mid-July that we got it. It was to add a transition coordinator for our high school and our transition academy. And so what that person will do is really looking at all populations of students and how they can get them hooked into internships and careers and jobs after they graduate, but specifically really looking at students with disabilities on IEPs, and then also our homeless students that we serve under McKinney-Vento. So that is an additional position that we've posted and hired. So
Carrie, don't leave. Well, I'm going to skip ahead to item number 32, and that's the memorandum of understanding agreement between University of Oklahoma and the Employment Transition Services for special education students. That's may or may not be new, but I think it would be really
it's not
great.
new. Yeah, we've done
to talk
that. We've done that probably 3 years now, and the program at OU comes out to our site and does job skills and life skills training program with our students with disabilities, with the most significant disabilities.
I highlight that because I think it's important to know the effort Ms. Huber has taken to make sure that our kids with disabilities have services that don't end with just the academic instruction, but carry on through kind of that transition to work or secondary, or not a secondary, but post-secondary educational opportunities. She works really hard at that. So I just wanted to highlight that. She's been fabulous. So any questions for her?
I just want to highlight one item on here, number 20, and the A, when you included the donor's choice annual report, $104,000 given in to
Absolutely.
the teachers that just
Right.
ask for things, and the community steps up. And sometimes you see the community is not just local, it's national.
It is national.
That people see what they're doing in Sand Springs, they want to give money to it. So $104,000 is a lot of money.
It is a lot of
So,
money.
Man, what a deal. Thank you for including that. Thank you, teachers, for going out and asking for things, and
They do.
community stepping up.
There's nothing greater than watching teachers understand budgets, understand school finance woes, that will go out and ask for something more for their kids. So every year you'll see lots of donors choose. I would also bring up item number 22. This is not new, but it looks different. We asked the city to separate the SRO contracts this year because they're from 3 different funding sources. So as Claudia is having to claim that money back from the State Department of Ed, it's helpful to have clarity on it. So 2 of those are competitive grant. One is a consistent one. But I will say the legislature appropriated through the grants management system, it's a claims process, the SRO grant last year, and that allowed us to get our 3rd resource officer, and that's timed. It's a 3-year grant. We're hoping that at the end of those 3 years we can sustain with local money, because that has been such a coup, I think, for us to have those 3 officers available for our district when school's going on. Beyond that, I would mention number 33. It's expensive. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's our contract for our outsourced custodial. It tallies to about $28,000 a month, which is astronomical. That's for 4 sites. Clyde Boy's a big one, to be honest, and so that's the most costly. But just remember, we're saving salaries. So it offsets the cost quite a bit, while probably not completely. But finding people that are dedicated and stable and willing to stay for any length of time has been incredibly difficult. So not only is it maybe costing a little bit more, but it allows us to maybe not run into those issues sometimes that we have just keeping people employed here. So I know Mike probably would chime in and say the same thing. Mike, I don't know if you want to add anything to that. So I would honor any questions that you guys might have about the
I just
consent
asked Ms. Durkee about that particular question. I want to make sure that we still have someone in the building during the day when the children are there in case something comes up that they take care of. So. We asked enough of the teachers. We don't need to be doing things. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Any other questions or comments? All right.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Aye.
Hanlon,
Aye.
Noggle,
Aye.
Wagers,
Aye.
Wagnon.
Aye. All right, action items.
Yeah, item number 34 is about proposed approval of new and revised policies. The first four were first read on the July agenda. We did make a change at Mr. Mullen's suggestion about the per day on this retirement benefit for sick leave. The next three we're asking for first read. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. There was some clarification in the substitute teaching one. And let me just get down here and pull that up so I can talk specifically about it. Sorry. Some of it was the language we just need to clarify. The other thing I need to make mention is we're raising the rate of our substitute teachers to $80 per day for non-cert and $100 per certified. That is just making an effort to keep up with the rate around us. We could probably do better. And then the other clarification is the number of days that a person can sub for employment according to state law, and that needed to be changed. It changed from 190 to 135, and then 100 to 145 days for certified. So we needed to make those change per state law. And then we clarified the rate per period when a secondary teacher would sub during their planning period for another colleague, and then clarified the language of when a para subs in the last paragraph, meaning if the sub rate is higher than the para's daily rate, we would pay the higher. We would pay the sub rate, not the daily rate of that para. So the language we felt like was a little unclear, and so we wanted to make sure that was clarified.
Do we have a comparison of us compared to somebody else?
We do, and I have to tell you, SSCA is really good about providing that for us. I would tell you that there are others that are higher, that we just need to be clear about that. But raising it $20 a day, I felt like was a really good move. Our sub cost, I don't have that in front of me now, and we can certainly run the numbers for you so you can see how much substitutes cost, but it's a pretty high number of how much we pay out for sub pay every single year. I think it got incrementally more toward the end of the year last year. We've talked through some strategies about maybe how to encourage people not to take so many days off, but again, it's just something we afford per policy, as we should, and so we can't solve that in terms of people coming to work every day. We can incentivize, so, yep. So that is one of them. The next one that we're asking for approval tonight would be the AI district policy. And Sean Beard, if you don't mind, kind of talking through that in terms of guidelines, specifically hit the requirement with our Google suite.
So being that this is a new tool that's available to teachers, and of course there's going to be some curiosity from students, we sought out the OSSBA policy, and that's what you're looking at here. We've added a couple of revisions just to kind of shore it up a little bit. Specifically, there's a lot of AI tools out there that are available, but specifically with Google Gemini, which is the Google equivalent of ChatGPT, there are guidelines that Google has about the age of the student using that tool. So what we've done to ensure those kinds of safeguards for our kids is that we're only allowing that tool to be used for grades 9 through 12. Google's requirement is that you have to be over the age of 13, but we just took that a step ahead or a step above that, and only have made it available through 9 through 12. So that is the only AI tool that we have right now that we're allowing students to use right now. Some of the other district-approved tools that we have are things that we've looked through from a data and security perspective to allow teachers to use, just to make sure that when it comes to data and privacy and ensuring that our data is not being shared outside of our institution, that was a lot of the guideline that I used in making those kind of recommendations to Superintendent Durkee. But specifically though, we also will be developing a class that teachers can take on MobileMind, and we'll be discussing it at the back to school meeting next week. And we'll be mirroring a lot of the comments in here specifically about compliance with data, privacy, security, making sure that students understand how to use AI safely, and just some examples of how they can integrate AI into their lessons. So,
Questions for Mr. Beard?
What was the application again, that Gemini, is that what you said?
it's called Google Gemini. It's gone through several different names and iterations, but it's basically, it's very similar to the way ChatGPT works. You put in a prompt and then the AI responds. So.
Okay, thanks.
I agree. Ms. Hanlon's over here saying she loves ChatGPT. I would mimic that comment. So then the letter G is policy EIEC. This is one that's required by state law per the last legislative session. That law was authored by our representative. Release time opportunities have been available for parents for some time. What this law did is put parameters around how districts would be able to do that, and so we are using the OSSBA recommended policy, which is in full here in with the black words. We added some red words that we thought would help clarify. Like the first sentence, the Board of Education will approve release time courses for elective credit under the conditions provided in this policy. So I wanted to make sure that the people knew, as a Board of Education, you all have some control over the content, not necessarily the content, but how we're actually providing credit, because we are ordered to provide credit if those conditions are met. So if you skip down to numbers 1 through 4 in the center of that document, we can dictate and recommend the amount of classroom instructional time is used. They have to issue a course syllabus which reflects requirements and materials used in the course. They have to show methods of assessment that will be utilized over the course. And then we added in red the qualifications of the course instructor to include formal training in proposed course/content matter, meaning when we hire teachers to teach content, we make sure that they have some sort of specialization in that course content that they're teaching. So we thought that was important. And then at the second page in red, the independent entity and the student's parents or legal guardian indemnifies the school district and holds it harmless with regard to any conduct that does not occur on school property under the control or supervision of the school district. That's important because we don't have to accept responsibility for something that might go awry once, and nor are we responsible for transportation if that entity were to come get students upon parent permission. We have to have signed parent permission. And then really working through the amount of credit to issue, because it allows for up to 125 periods, which would be the equivalent of up to around 3 periods per week. We felt like the best recommendation we could make would be a half credit, not a full credit for the course, because those students would still be responsible for the course they're missing at school. Again, required by state law for us to have a policy. I do know that there have been at least 3 different area districts in the Tulsa region who have been approached by an organization called LifeWise out of Ohio, who provides this kind of instruction for students in the state of Ohio. I do know that they are trying to survey parents in those communities to glean what kind of interest there is for that kind of instruction. I have not received that yet, but I just want to make you aware that that has been occurring in districts around us. So not sure that we'll have parents that will want to utilize this. Of course, it wouldn't have to be an organization like LifeWise. It could be a local entity here, so a person from a local church or something that could ask to do that. But again, those 4 criteria would have to be met. So I want to be specific and, of course, answer any questions. Mr. Beard and I met with some of our leaders. Ms. Noel and Mr. Biven were involved in a meeting with us where we kind of parsed out what we thought was going to be helpful and appropriate for this policy. Questions?
Are the schools responsible for vetting the teachers then, as far as background checks? And
There's no requirement for background checks for the teachers. So it was really important that the law would not hold us accountable for any mishappening that could happen off campus while in the care of that entity. So we wouldn't have liability in that case.
For sure, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Sure.
Is there any provisions that any of the state funding that we receive for having these kids in our class be transferred to this outside entity because they are taking a portion of that day and educating students?
At this time, no.
Good.
I suppose that it's a great question, though, Mr. Mullins, because I suppose that would open up an inquiry about that, but that would have to be legislated.
any other questions?
Okay, moving on, the last policy we're asking for first read and approval would be truancy and attendance regulation, and Ms. Slahuber's been working on that with our team as well, so if you don't mind taking that policy as well.
You can see by the strike through that we had really old disciplinary parameters for students. For example, we were suspending students for being truant, and that doesn't make a lot of sense to send a kid home for not coming to school. And so we struck through all of that language, and then I met all summer with the principals to get through what they really wanted from this new policy. And so what you see there in the elementary and the secondary levels are what each of those groups agreed to as far as when we were going to turn a student over for truancy, like through the Sand Springs court. And Christy Bihar in Sand Springs PD has been really helpful with us on this. I think there was a time that our principals weren't really feeling like there was any reason to turn in the truancy paperwork because not a lot of follow-through was happening from the city side. and that's not the case now. They understand that we have an attendance issue, and sadly, we're not talking about students that have 10, 12, 14 absences. We're talking about 40, 50 absences in a school year. And so we're hopeful that changing this policy will get it out in the forefront for people. Lisa and I have been working on some fun social media and a campaign we're gonna roll out after the board meeting, as far as we've got a tagline that's gonna say every student, every day, the Sandite way. And so Lisa has got great graphics, and we forced the principals to record a video last Friday at leadership, and so that video will come out at some point after this meeting. The main thing that we want parents to understand is you're given X amount of absences for a school year, and it doesn't matter if they're excused or unexcused. You get absences. So an absence is an absence is an absence. And that's what this language is really working to change in the policy. Unfortunately, you have people that take advantage, and so Mom works at a doctor's office, so I have 37 doctor's notes that I was absent and wasn't really going to the doctor those 37 days. And so we're just trying to get kids back to school because they need to be at school so that they can get their instruction.
Well, and I might add that the whole absences and absences and absence is driven by rules at the State Department of Ed. So you're absent, excused or not excused, it's still an absent. And so that factors into chronic absenteeism, which is what our messaging is.
And you're allowed those, we know people are gonna be absent, so you are allowed a certain number. Just so you all understand, 17.5 absences in a school year is what causes a student to be chronically absent. So that's why we kind of tried to hit at that number 18 as like the final number, because we were trying to keep them under that 17.5 for the year. Any questions? We also had changed attendance coding at each site. We found that the different sites were coding things different ways, and so we just took that ability away and just made all the coding exactly the same. So if a parent calls in, the code is gonna look one way. If nobody calls, the code's gonna look a different way, and that way it's consistent from site to site.
Lots of work and thought goes into it. The policy looks relatively short, to be honest, but it doesn't speak toward how much time it took to whittle that out. So any questions for us on policy?
Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion we approve the policies identified in item number 34.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Mullins,
Aye.
Hanlon,
Aye.
Noggle, Wagers,
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Item number 35, with the wisdom of Mr. Mullins, that was an item we tabled last meeting. If you'll remember, it got a little bit confusing because OSSBA had changed their policy letters and had left out the A on the new leave policy. So because we just approved DEC -R1 in item number 34, then we need to rescind DEAC-R1, which is the old policy for sick leave for certified personnel.
I'll move to approve to rescind and remove policy DEAC-R1 from our policy manual.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Mullins,
Aye.
Hanlon,
Aye.
Noggle, Wagers,
Aye.
Wagner.
Item number 36. We have a proposal for executive session or employee recommendations. Or item number 37. Nope. Do I have a,
I'll make a motion to approve item number 38 of temporary teacher employment recommendations for the 24-25 school year.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Mike, I have one question though, Ms. Durkee. Are we fully staffed? School's gonna start about 2 weeks? we're ready to go?
Boy, we're accommodating the lack of being able to find a special education teacher, I believe at Charles Page High School. It's special ed. That would be the one nugget that we're struggling with, but again, Ms. Lehuber is really good about tackling a problem and trying to figure it out. So we're making an accommodation in that Casey Yateman, who's serving special education. Our virtual academy is going to spend part of her day at Charles Page High School, and then we've hired a para for covering special education services for our virtual students. So we're making it. That would be one area that I would say if you could find them, it would be fantastic. So other than that, I think we are fully staffed.
Good. We're still an attractive district. Thank you.
We are. Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think I had a motion in a second. Yes. Vote, please.
Mullins,
Aye.
Hanlon,
Aye.
Noggle, Wagers,
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye. All right.
And then I'll also make a motion to approve the employment recommendations for the 2024-25 school year. Additional recommendations.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Mullins,
Aye.
Hanlon,
Aye.
Noggle, Wagers,
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
And item number 40, as you may recall at our July meeting, in alignment with House Bill 3958 regarding digital communication platforms, it was suggested by Julie Miller at OSSBA, and I do agree to go ahead and get the board to approve any and all mechanisms by which teachers and staff can communicate with students. And so we have 8 here. Letter E, School Status Connect is one you approved last month, but we also use Stop It, Vicava and GoGuardian at Charles Page High School. Of course, the Google Suite, which runs our email system, Google Classroom. Aptigee is our communication mechanism. Infinite Campus is our student information system. And then H, MyRide, K-12, Tyler Technologies has to do with transportation communication. So we just want it on the record that those are the 8 platforms that are officially board approved for teachers to utilize when communicating with students.
I'll move to approve item number 40, district's digital communication platforms to comply with House Bill 3958 as stated in A through H.
I have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Mullins,
Aye.
Hanlon,
Aye.
Noggle, Wagers,
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye. All right. Any matter not known about which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the posting of this meeting?
No,
Any announcements?
just the start of school's happening really fast. August 20th, the children will be here.
I know, I feel like I'm in a time warp.
I know.
Do we need to
I'm ready.
schedule a meeting for Thursday?
And we have a special meeting scheduled for Thursday for the board to approve general fund encumbrances. Yeah.
Will that be in this room?
It will be in this room
At noon?
at noon. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mullins.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, have a motion and a second.
Mullins,
Aye.
Hanlon,
Aye.
Noggle, Wagers,
Aye.
Wagner.